Okay, welcome. This is an overview and playthrough of a game I'm working on called Whodunit In Your Pocket. Working title, anyway. This is a solo clue style game. And before I get started, I want to talk about the components. It's basically just cards, although I am using sleeved cards and right now a dry erase marker. There's also a version without this that I've got in mind as well. But these cards are divided up into 7 in each of these stacks of suspects, murder weapons, and locations. And the way these are set up, and these are inspired by Clue with the names here, every card in these 7 has one and only one thing in common with another card. So these two both have Mrs. White. So if they have one thing in common, everything else is going to be unique or different. There will also be 3 of each in the stack. So these two have Ms. White. There will only be one other card in the stack with Ms. White, which is right here. So that's how these work. There's 7 suspects, 7 murder weapons, and 7 locations. And the way you set up the game is you randomly select 2 of these cards, 2 of these cards, and 2 of these cards. And so if these 2 were selected, it's the one that's in common is actually who the murderer is. So I will do that real quickly. Okay, so I have taken 2 of each for suspects, weapons, and locations. So these are the facts of the murder, and I'm setting those aside. So of the 21 cards I was starting with, basically 15 is what you play with. So I have shuffled the rest up together, and this is the list of all of each, and then a clock starting at 6 o'clock going up to midnight, and you cross these out as you discover who a murderer is not. And then you also cross out the time, and if you run out of time, then the murderer gets away. You can still solve the murder, but the murderer gets away. So we'll do a quick playthrough. And as you lay a card down, the first card just kind of goes in the middle. You can play these portrait or landscape, it doesn't matter. But each new card has to be played so that at least one square overlaps, and you can place them in different orientations like this. So in this case, let's say that I play it this way. You cannot tuck underneath, and you also can't peek underneath these. Once you've placed them, you can tidy them up by straightening them, but you can't move the cards to see what you've covered. This symbol here is a secret passageway, and on your location cards, we do have secret passageways. In a harder version, you don't use these, but I will show you how these work. Basically, you can use these extra cards. I've got 2 of them, so that'll come up. Okay, so now we've got 2 locations. When you have 2 locations, you see what are 2 of the same card type. You're going to see what the duplicate is. Here it's the lounge. One of these has to be covered. If I don't cover a duplicate, and you can have several duplicates come up, but you only get penalized once per card. So if there is a 1 duplicate or more, when you have that happen, you are losing time tracking down the facts of the murder. So you cross out a clock icon here. So right now we have 2 of the lounge. We know the murder did not occur in the lounge. So I'm going to cross that off. And I'm going to make sure to cover it. So in fact, I'm going to go like that. There is a strategy to trying to keep things tight together. The more broad you get, the more it's hard to cover more than one duplicate that comes up. Okay, so now we have the card that's in common with this is the billiard. The card that's in common here is the kitchen. So we know it's not either of those two. And since I need to cover both of those, I will go, let's see, I'll go this way. So I'm going to cross out the kitchen and the billiard room on my card. Okay, now we've got some more weapons. So we know it's not the rope. This symbol is a blackmail. If 3 or more of these show up and are visible, that also costs us time. And then if it becomes 4 that are visible, you lose an additional hour, and so forth. So there is some dirt that someone has on you, just like in the game, or sorry, in the movie Clue. So here I am covering this up. Let's go here. We know it's not the rope. All right, now the kitchen, we know it's not that already. We also, let's see, the library is here. So we know it's not the library. Anything that's been crossed out can be covered. What you need to pay attention though is at the end of the game, if the murderer, the place, or the murder weapon, if any of those are covered, you have lost. They have gotten away. So it's actually advantageous to cover as much as you can. I know I can cover these 3, so I'm going to cover all of those together. Well, but then the kitchen's here. So this is tricky. I need to cover the kitchen and the library, which is impossible. So I'm going to show you how you can use the secret passageway. So say I go like this, that covers this one. Twice per game you have these cards. As long as it covers one of these spaces, then you're okay. So I'm going to do this. Basically it just helps cover more territory, which is what a secret passageway would do. All right, we have the wrench and the candlestick. Both of those need to be covered. I don't know if I want to cover that poison, but I'm gonna take. Well, I know the rope can be covered, so I'm going to cover this way, which also takes care of that blackmail. So this can get a little precarious. I need to cross out the wrench and the candlestick. Okay, we haven't had any suspects come up yet, but all right, rope, we know it's not that. The knife, okay. So let's cover up the knife and this blackmail. And we can cover in fact, we can cover all of these. And that will keep everything kind of tight here. So let's go this way. Okay. So we know it's not the knife. All right. We're getting close on the weapon. Next card. Okay, we've got to cover the lounge and the study and the dining room. Okay, so we know it's not the dining room. We know it's not the study. Okay, so actually we know it's the hall. So we can't cover this one right here. But we've got a tricky situation here. What we're going to do is cover these, and we're going to use this second secret passageway to cover this. Okay, so we're doing well. We haven't lost any time. Okay, our first set of suspects. Let's place them right in the middle here. No, let's go up just a little bit. Let's go right there. Okay, lead pipe. We know it's not the lead pipe. We also know it's not the poison. So it is the revolver, the pistol. Okay, so we can't cover the pistol. We have to cover, see if we did this, we would cover the hull, so we would lose. We can't cover the poison and the lead pipe, we just can't. So we're going to do this. We'll go this way, upside down. That way this blackmail is easier to cover later. But we do have duplicates. We actually have 2 sets of duplicates, but you lose 1 time on that. We've discovered our murder weapon and the location, as long as we didn't make a mistake. So these 4 are all suspects. Let's see what happens here. Okay, Mr. Body. We know it is not Mr. Body. We can cover him. Let's go this way here. Okay, this is our 3rd blackmail. So if we don't cover that, we're in trouble. Otherwise, we're doing pretty well. So Miss Scarlet, we know we can cover, we can cross her off the list. And then Mr. Green. Okay, so we have to cover Scarlet and Green. We can't do both. I'm going to choose to cover Scarlet because there's a blackmail up here. So let's do that. So we do have a duplicate, so we lose an hour. Okay. All right, Mr. Green. So we know we already have a duplicate, but if we cause another duplicate, it's a problem. Plum. So we know it's not Plum. And we know it's not Green. But that's all that gives us. Okay, let's cover, we can cover this blackmail, Scarlet, Plum, and Mr. Body all together. Well, let's cover up here. So, no duplicates showing. Well, Green will be an inherent duplicate, even though he was from last time. So we still lose an hour there. Okay, and now we know it's not Mrs. White or Miss Peacock. So we know the murderer is Colonel Mustard, right up here. So we're actually okay to cover anything we want to here, but we're trying to do White and Peacock. We can't do both. We're going to cover the blackmail, so we don't lose an hour for that. But it's 9 o'clock. We've still got 3 hours to go, and our cards here should reveal that it was the revolver, the hull, and there's Colonel Mustard. There's the gun. And there's the hull. Okay, so that is how you play. We didn't have to worry about blackmail. Again, the way that works, as soon as you have 3 showing, you lose an hour. If you have more, you lose an hour for each subsequent. So there are ways you can play this a little harder, and that is, instead of using this, which I find to be quite fun, you can play it in a way where you're just losing your time. In this way, you don't need the dry erase marker, and you're just going by memory. Or you can use a token of some kind, you know, to place on the characters that you think it is, or the murder weapon. Anyway, I've been finding this version to be quite fun. But if you wanted to go more difficult, you can do it by memory. You can also not use the secret passageways. And then one other element to make it more difficult is if you have, say placing a card creates 2 duplicates, you would lose 2 hours for that instead of 1. So those are some ideas. But thanks for watching. I would love thoughts, input, ideas, or questions. All right, thanks. We'll catch you later.